Uh, so record. Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. In our pursuit to more clearly understand the Bhagavata Vidhi versus the Pancharatrika Vidhi, so that we can more clearly, conclusively understand how the Bhagavata Vidhi initiation is taking place in our lives, while also pursuing the Bhagavata Pancharatrika Vidhi within this initiation process. There is Pancharatrika Vidhi initiation happening as part of this Bhagavata Vidhi initiation process. So that is the whole confusion. A lot of confusion is happening because of that. So we are pursuing our quest to understand clearly, delineate where Bhagavata Vidhi, how Bhagavata Vidhi works, and how the Pancharatrika Vidhi, Vidhi meaning the process, the way of devotional service is working in our lives as given by our acharyas in this parampara, as opposed to other Vaishnava paramparas, which are all bona fide, and how they have included some of the Pancharatrika principles within the Bhagavata principles. So in that we have been going through Prahlad Maharaj's definition of devotional service, Navida Bhakti, in the seventh canto, fifth chapter, verses 23 and 24. That's what we have been doing last couple of weeks. So we have done till the Smaranam last week. Today we are going to start with Padasevanam, and we continue on. And another place Srila Prabhupada says actually the first four, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, they are Bhagavata Vidhi, and the last five are Panchatrika Vidhi. But it is in the purview of the whole thing is Bhagavata Vidhi. So it's confusing, but it becomes clear more that in Kali Yuga, to people who are conditioned souls, they are told, even though all nine are practiced under Bhagavata Vidhi principles by devotees, uh, mostly pure devotees, but they are in Kali Yuga, we have been asked to follow the starting from the fifth chronological order, Archana, under Pancharatrika Vidhi, till we get purified enough so that we can follow from Pancharatrika Vidhi within the Bhagavata Vidhi principles, from Archana process under Bhagavata Vidhi principles. So both are being given by Srila Prabhupada, both principles for Archana in Pancharatrika Vidhi and Archana in Bhagavata Vidhi. And as one progresses, naturally one gradually turns into following through Bhagavata Vidhi while externally following the Pancharatrika Vidhi principles. And Archanam and Vandanam, Dasyam, all these are same. So that's how we will get more clarity as we go forward. Not only Srila Prahlad Maharaj's explanation, but Srila Prabhupada and Acharyas have given long explanation, detailed explanations, which are in Srila Prabhupada's purports. So let's go through them. And my internet is down, so I'm going through the phone's hotspot. So let's see if that is okay. So seventh canto, fifth chapter. Are you able to see this screen?
Voice is breaking. Yeah, now we can see.
I think now it is working on internet, I think. Let's see. Okay. Now it's good, right? I think internet.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, we did Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Last week, did Shravanam, Archanam. Padasevanam. Okay. Okay. So you want to read? Anyone wants to read this? Srila Prabhupada's explanation of Padasevanam?
Yeah, bro. Shall I read?
Yes, please.
Okay. Path Sevana. According to one's taste and strength, hearing, chanting, and remembering may be followed by Path Sevana. One obtains the perfection of remembering when one constantly thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord. Being intensely attached to thinking of the Lord's lotus feet is called Pad Sevana. When one is particularly adherent to the process of Pad Sevanam, this process gradually includes other processes such as seeing the form of the Lord, touching the form of the Lord, circumambulating the form or temple of the Lord, visiting such places as Jagannath Puri, Dwarika, and Mathura to see the Lord's form, and bathing in the Ganges or Yamuna. Bathing in the Ganges and serving a pure Vaishnav are also known as Tadiya Upasanam. This is also Pad Sevanam. The word Tadiya means in relationship with the Lord. Service to the Vaishnav, Tulasi, Ganges and Yamuna are included in Pad Sevanam. All these processes of Pad Sevanam help one advance in spiritual life very quickly.
Very good. This is next is Archanam. So, after Padasevanam comes the process of Archanam. So it's in a chronological order, worshipping the deity. So this is, you want to explain a little bit, Prabhu?
Yeah, bro. Okay. As it is mentioned that according to one's taste and strength, okay, uh, when one this is gradually process. If one hears very nicely chants and remember, then next process will be path sevanam. And in path sevanam, it is mentioned that to one obtains the perfection of remembering when one constantly thinks of the lotus feet of Lord, being intensely attached to the thinking of the. Okay, so path sevanam, it includes that serving the Lord. In that it is mentioned that serving the Lord means seeing the form of the Lord, touching the form of the Lord when we decorate him or we dress him, circumambulating, circumambulating the form of the Lord, or in the temple when we uh, and visiting it is also includes visiting places like holy places like Jagannath Puri, Dwarika, Mathura, to see the form of the Lord. And it said that bathing in Ganges, Yamuna, that is also included in the next point is saying that Tadiya Upasana, anything that is related in relationship with the Lord, that is also that Pad Sevana, that Vaishnav, like Vaishnavas Tadhyana. Vaishnavas are in relationship with Vishnu, Bhagavan, Krishna. So by serving them, Tulsi, uh, Tulsi Maharani, Ganges, Yamuna, taking bath, this is also Pad Sevana. All these processes of Pad Sevanam help one advance in spiritual life very quickly. By doing this, one can very quickly advance in spiritual life. Yeah.
So what I understand now from this, according to one's taste and strength, hearing, chanting, and remembrance may be followed by Padsevanam. So it's all based on the level of taste and strength in chanting and hearing and remembering. So that defines whether one, when one is doing Archanam, whether one is doing how much of Bhagavata Vidhi uh, one is worshipping Archanam, and how much of Pancharatrika Vidhi one is worshiping, doing the Archanam, the next processes. Like, for example, you know that Brahmana who was offering the sweet rice to Krishna, to Vishnu in the mind. So he, because his hearing and chanting were perfect, he was able to remember perfectly, and that's how he was able to do the archanam, no, perfectly, by really meditating such that even the hot rice in his mind, which he had made, when he touched in his mind with his finger to see how hot it is, it burnt his finger. So that, so the, and I remember Srila Prabhupada keeps saying that unless one is hearing and chanting, archanam will become galagraha. Okay, why is this given to me such big burden, the worship of the deities, unless one is hearing and chanting? So it follows the same path that if one is remember, so by hearing and chanting, remembering, one should be able to remember the Lord within one's heart, you know, all the time. And more one is able to remember, this lotus feet of the Lord will become prominent, and one becomes more and more attached to the Lord's lotus feet, and that attachment is going to be able to define how much deeper one is able to do the next few processes. Hmm. And see, this is all basically gradually from one is hearing, chanting, and remembering, and gradually the servitorship is coming in this method from the consciousness. Anyone else has any points to make? Comments?
Yeah, Prabhu. I want to ask you, as you said that it becomes galagra, so heavy load when he is not hearing chanting, he is doing deity worship. But still, some devotees, not just like deity worship is a main like a very important service. So even they do not chant or hear, they adopt that, or they are doing deity worship. Just and what is the situation that
They don't chant and hear? You mean what? How do you mean?
actually just like Shravanam Kirtanam. Okay, they are chanting, but they are not hearing. They are not reading books, or they are not just like in lecture also. I just in our one center here is an old man, so he is doing always deity worship. So he do not so much interested in hearing or reading books. So how to judge that? Or
What about the chanting Hare Krishna mantra?
yeah, chanting he is doing that, but Shravanam Kirtanam
So
is
what
not.
then? What's the problem if he's doing chanting and hearing? Shravanam Kirtanam is happening, no?
Yeah, generally we say that when we do not read books, na, books reading this literature, Srila Prabhupada's words, that is also Shravanam.
Has to see how much is the remembrance going on. One need
Okay.
follow so many things, because if remembrance is there, Pada Sevanam is that servitorship is happening within one's heart, then it comes out. You know, the enthusiasm in serving all these tadiya, the
Yeah.
devotees, all these forms, everything comes out. And then the archanam automatically will be will be happening with the consciousness. You know, it doesn't matter, no. Some people get really attached to deity worship because they just They just get the concept in the mind, here is the Lord. And it's just so enjoyable for those devotees to like really, because they heard hearing a Hare Krishna mantra, and it becomes really concrete in one's consciousness. Here is the Lord, and I am a servitor, and I have to serve him, everything. And then gradually that becomes perfection. That is the whole Pancharatrika process. It's not so much knowledge, everything. You see, in you go in temples, in even in Goswami temples, you see they don't have while Aarti is going on, they don't have singing
Yeah.
simultaneously because of that Pancharatrika focus at that time. So much was Pancharatrika focus, and earlier times before Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he included this kirtan inside the Pancharatrika. You know, so
Okay.
this there's so much when one is doing Pancharatrika, that in itself, like Archana Vidhi, that in itself is full. As long as one is, because there are Narada Pancharatrika has all these mudras and mantras, which are also holy name of the Lord. So and offering the processes, everything have lot of Krishna's names are there. Narada Pancharatrika, that's why it is focused for Kali Yuga people. So Srila Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, they really implemented that for devotees who are already like more Brahmanically, more regulated in South India and other sections of the country where it is easier for them to do. So only for people who are outside of the country, and as Kali Yuga processes that even in South India, which is going away, that's Brahminical component in one's life, then Bhagavata Vidhi it becomes so like imperative. Without it, you can't even do Archana properly. Can't do. No inspiration won't even come. Or even if the inspiration is there, the regulation is not there. Morning, afternoon, evening, regularly to do all these things. Archana. So that's why from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati onwards, they really all of it is there. Srila Rupa Goswami is giving in his Nectar of Devotion all these deity worship and all these processes, but the acharyas didn't picked up different. His so many other books they picked up for because they were more applicable to people who are already following the Bhagavata Vidhi easily without going through the Pancharatrika and everything. But when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur started seeing that gradually these are getting degraded now. Now the way after the Goswamis, the way the Bhagavata Vidhi was the most prominent without Pancharatrika and the Varnashrama principles being applied on the devotee community, then because the whole degradation was happening, Sahajiism became too much. So then he decided, no, we have to also apply those principles. We have to apply those principles now of Pancharatrika and Varnashrama and everything. So he instructed Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati like that, and then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta really like formulated it very structured way, how very intelligently, expertly, how he implemented the Varnashrama and part of the Varnashrama and the Pancharatrika system within the Bhagavata system. Uh, and then Srila Prabhupada is expanding it and making it more, more practical for the world over. So when devotees, they are already on a platform where they are able to practice Pancharatrika Vidhi without so much like focus on hearing and they can also. There is no bar. The only what Srila Prabhupada is saying is that if one is not like other places, not here, but other places, when he says without Shravanam Kirtanam, one cannot do Archanam, is because of the people who are not at that level, who can do Archanam, and they're already feeling inspired. See, it's coming from past lives, no? So that's why it's easy for acharyas to implement archanam on past people already, past devotees, past
Yeah,
life.
yeah, bro. In Smaranam it is mentioned now. Just like I just want to clear. After one regularly performs the process of hearing and chanting, and after the core of one's heart is cleansed, Smaranam remembering is recommended. So it is recommended means that na, yeah, like in this part also it is in chronological that. So how to understand that? Na? If
Explain
one
what is, yeah.
just like it is in the previous one, Smarnam.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, af-
it's here.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
After one regularly performs the process of hearing and chanting, and after the core of one's heart is cleansed, Smarnam remembrance is recommended. So I want to ask last in class also. I was little late. So it is mentioned that when one do Shravanam Kirtanam and the core of heart is cleansed, then Smarnam is recommended. So what does that mean? That after that we can.
There is a process of remembering. It's not just automatic. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Krishna to Arjuna, and let's go there. Two, three places he writes about remembering. Let's do that. Eighth chapter. One in Pancharatrika process, one is told to remember from starting from the Lord's lotus feet, and like a whole progression. There are processes mentioned how to remember, how to get the remember smaranam going. It's not just Shravanam Kirtanam and then automatically. Uh, that's really good, but the Pancharatrika process kind of forces one into that process of remembering. One second. So let's go to the eighth chapter where this place says Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yuddhacha. So therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So, mind is a separate uh, entity, a separate component of subtle body. Intelligence, too, is a separate component of the subtle body. So, both have to be engaged in thinking of the Lord. And then in the next verse, he explains oops, is going. So the next verse is about Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena, Chetasa Nanya Gamina, Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Partha Anuchintayan. Abhyasa, practice. Yoga Yuktena, being engaged in meditation. It's a practice of thinking. So here he who this is about the mind, one's mind component of subtle body. He who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, O Arjuna, is sure to reach me. In this verse, Lord Krishna stresses the importance of remembering him. One's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. This mystic meditation is very easy to practice, and it helps one attain the Supreme Lord. Purusham means enjoyer. Although living entities belong to the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord, they are in material contamination. They think themselves enjoyers, but they are not the supreme enjoyers. Here it is clearly stated that supreme enjoyer is the supreme personality of Godhead. The devotees can constantly think of the object of worship, the Supreme Lord, worship the Supreme Lord in any of his features, by chanting Hare Krishna. This practice will purify him. At the end of his life, due to his constant chanting, he'll be transferred. Yoga practices meditation on the super soul within. Similarly, by chanting Hare Krishna, one fixes his mind always on the Supreme Lord. The mind is fickle, and therefore it is necessary to engage the mind by force to think of Krishna. One example often given is that of caterpillar that thinks of becoming a butterfly and so is transformed into a butterfly in the same life. Similarly, if we constantly think of Krishna, it is certain at the end of our lives we shall have the same bodily constitution as Krishna. So there is a practice by force. It is recommended, right, in this verse. The next verse is, so as we just discussed, as we saw, Krishna is saying in the with your mind and intelligence, right? So he described how the mind can be put into Krishna, sometimes by force or by practice of chanting and hearing, but with the aim that to remember Krishna. You know, I mean, there is a whole aim. The whole process is to try to remember him. But then he talks about the intelligence, how it can be used to remember Krishna to help in this practice. Both are required. And for that, he tells us what to do with the intelligence. This is the 9th verse. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and being transcendental is beyond this material nature. So now Srila Prabhupada explains this, how this connects it with that 7th verse. The process of thinking of the Supreme is mentioned in this verse. The foremost point is that he is not impersonal or void. So all of this is how one can use the intelligence to, so the mind is like a screen, like a computer screen. And if the intelligence is used to think about, like process all this knowledge, then the mind starts to have all this, the screen starts to get all these data on the screen. Oh, the Lord is like that. He's not impersonal, void. So one is thinking of the Lord like that, not just the form of the Lord. You see? So that's how one can also start to meditate on the Lord. Like Srila Prabhupada, okay, anyway, let's go forward. One cannot meditate on something impersonal or void. That is very difficult. The process of thinking of Krishna, however, is very easy and is factually stated herein. First of all, he is Purusha, spiritual, Rama and Krishna, and is described here in his Kavim. Anyway, so this is the process. One can read it later, but this is the whole process, that how intelligence can be used in a whole, like, structured manner to induce thinking of Krishna. So how Srila Prabhupada implemented it, no, for in the preaching movement, he, like, say, when we preach to people, now there are arguments coming from different people, or Krishna is impersonal, personal, this, that, God is dead. So now one is using one intelligence, you see, to do this process. And this follow this 9th verse of Bhagavata, by which we are remembering, because Krishna is not just the form, his name, fame, qualities, opulences, everything connected. His service too. It's like Srila Prabhupada gave a service, let's say, distribute books. So now, if one starts to meditate on that service instruction, that is also meditating on Krishna. Because this is all, because Krishna is not different, non-different from his service too. On Vrindavan, I mean, everything. So it's like a whole intelligence can actually be used to remember all those things in everything in the existence, to remember the Lord. So that's how he is saying it's it's recommended as if it is a to make it a choice. It's a choice for us that we can remember Krishna or not. It is not just by hearing and chanting alone is not the only process. You know, just by hearing chanting, automatically Krishna would come in our mind. That's true. But while also we use the other processes, so many processes are there. Even in the I don't want to go into Bhagavad Gita more. Let's keep going because we'll go away from the subject. But 7.5, which we were just reading. Oh, what's going on? 7.5, 23, 24. Here in the Smaranam, Srila Prabhupada talks about how there are 5 years. Last week, we went through these stages of remembering. So this can all be applied not just on the form of the Lord, but also on everything in the existence, connecting it to the Lord. It's as good. But automatically, but then what happens is when we are remembering the Lord's qualities, then simultaneously if you remember the form also. It's like it's automatically, it will happen. It's like simultaneous. So anyway, did this clear or you have anything to add, Prabhu, in it?
Yep, I got it.
Yeah. Any other? Someone else wants to chip in? Okay. So let's keep going to the Archanam then. Hmm? Okay. Anyone would like to read Archanam?
Yeah, Prabhu, shall I?
Yeah.
Okay. So Archanam. After Pad Sevanam comes the process of Archanam, worship of the deity. If one is interested in the process of Archanam, one must positively take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and learn the process from him. There are many books for Archan, especially Narad Pancharatra. In this age, the Pancaratra system is particularly recommended for Archan, deity worship. There are two systems of Archan, the Bhagavat system and Pancharatric system. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no recommendation of Pancharatric worship because in this Kali Yuga, even without deity worship, everything can be perfectly performed simply through hearing, chanting, remembering, and worship of the lotus feet of the Lord. Rup Goswami states, Shri Vishnu Shavane Parikshide अभवद वैसाखी कीर्तने प्रह्लाद स्मरणे तद अंगरी भजने लक्ष्मी पृथु पूजने अकुरुश्च त्वव अभिवंदने कपिपतिर्दास्य अथा साख्य अर्जुन सर्वात्मना निवेदन बलिर अभूत कृष्णापतिर एषाम परम. Parikshit Maharaj attained salvation simply by hearing, and Sukdev Goswami attained salvation simply by chanting. Prahlad Maharaj attained salvation by remembering the Lord, the goddess of fortune. Lakshmi Devi attained perfection by worshipping the Lord's lotus feet. Prithu Maharaj attained salvation by worshipping the deity of the Lord. Akrur attained salvation by offering prayers, Hanuman by rendering service, Arjun by establishing friendship with the Lord, and Bali Maharaj by offering everything to the service of the Lord. All these great devotees served the Lord according to a particular process, but every one of them attained salvation and became eligible to return home back to Godhead. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is therefore recommended that initiated devotees follow the principle of Naraj Pancharatra by worshipping the deity in the temple, especially for householder devotees who are opulent in material possessions. The path of deity worship is strongly recommended. An opulent householder devotee who does not engage his hard earned money in the service of the Lord is called a miser. One should not engage paid brahmanas to worship the deity. If one does not personally worship the deity but engages paid servant instead, he is considered lazy, and his worship of the deity is called artificial. An opulent householder can collect luxurious paraphernalia for deity worship, and consequently for householder devotees the worship of deity is compulsory. In our Krishna consciousness movement, there are brahmacharis, grastas, vanprastha, and sannyasis. But the deity worship in the temple should be performed especially by the householders. The brahmacharis can go with the sannyasis to preach, and the vanprasthas should prepare themselves for the next status of renounced life, sannyas. Grasta devotees, however, are generally engaged in material activities, and therefore, if they do not take to deity worship, their falling down is positively assured. Deity worship means following the rules and regulations precisely. That will keep one steady in devotional service. Generally, householders have children, and then the wife of the householder should be engaged in caring of the children, just as women acting as preaching. Sorry, just as women acting as preachers care for the children in a nursery school. Grasta devotees must adopt the Archan Vidhi or deity worship according to the suitable arrangements and directions given by the spiritual master. Regarding those unable to take to the deity worship in the temple, there is the following statement in the Agni Puran. Any householder devotee circumstantially unable to worship the deity must at least see the deity worship, and in this way he may achieve success also. The special purpose of deity worship is to keep oneself always pure and clean. Grasta devotees should be actual examples of cleanliness. Deity worship should be continued along with hearing and chanting. Therefore, every mantra is preceded by the word Nama. In all the mantras, there are specific potencies of which the Grasta devotees must take advantage. There are many mantras preceded by the word Nama. But if one chant the holy name of Lord, he receives the result of chanting Nama many times. By chanting the holy name of Lord, one can reach the platform of love of Godhead. One might ask, then what is the necessity of being initiated? The answer is that even though the chanting of the holy name is sufficient to enable one to progress in spiritual life to the standard of love of Godhead, one is nonetheless susceptible to contaminations because of possessing a material body. Consequently, special stress is given to the Archan Vidhi. One should therefore regularly take advantage of both the Bhagavat process and Pancharatrika process. Deity worship have two divisions, namely pure and mixed with fruitive activities. For one who is study, deity worship is compulsory. Observing the various type of festivals such as Shri Janmashtami, Ram Navami, and Narsing Chaturdasi is also included in the process of deity worship. In other words, it is compulsory for householder devotees to observe these festivals. Now let us discuss the offenses in deity worship.
Let's skip that. Huh? Okay. Can start here. Pradyumna Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
start from here.
If one commits any of the above offenses, one must read at least one chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is confirmed in the Skand Puran Avanti Kand. Similarly, there is another injunction stating that one who reads the 1,000 names of Vishnu can be released from all offenses. In the same Skand Puran, Reva Kand, it is said that one who recites prayers to Tulsi or sows a Tulsi seed is also freed from all offenses. Similarly, one who worships the Shaligram Shila can also be relieved of offenses. In the Brahm, Brahmand Upanishad, it is said that one who worships Lord Vishnu, whose four hands bears a conch shell, disc, lotus flower, and club, can be relieved from the above offenses. In the Adivara Puran, it is said that a worshipper who has committed offenses may fast for 1 day at the holy place known as Su Saukarva and then bathe in the Ganges. In the process of worshipping the deity, it is sometimes enjoined that one worship one worship the deity within the mind. In the Padma Puran, Uttarakhand, it is said all persons can generally worship within the mind. The Gautamiya Tantra states for a sannyasi who has no home, worship of deity within the mind is recommended. In the Narad Pancaratra, it is stated by Lord Narayan that worship of deity within the mind is called Manas Puja. One can become free from the four miseries by this method. Sometimes worship, yeah, sometimes worship from the mind can be independently executed. According to the instructions of Avirhotra Muni, one of the Nav Yogendras, as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, one may worship the deity by chanting all the mantras. Eight kind of deities are mentioned in the Shastra, and the mental deity is one of them. In this regard, the following description is given in the Brahma Vivarta Puran. In the city of Pratishtanpur,
Let's skip that note. We have heard it so many times. Okay, so this is a big cause of the confusion in Guru whole uh, Guru Tattva and Guru discussion in our movement, and because from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati onwards, the Pancharatrika process of deity worship became like fixed and prominent. But acharyas, all the Goswamis we see in Kali in Vrindavan, they have established deity worship, and they got brahmanas to do deity worship, and they may have, of course, externally they had Narada Pancharatrika process followed, but they didn't, the disciples weren't being, see, it was not like somebody starts chanting, then they would all be initiated as a Brahmana to be able to worship the deity. They were being recommended to hear, chant, remember the Lord, and do all this worship of the Lord in the mind and Manasa Puja, and not even with the Pancharatrika regulations. If they wanted to, they could do that because it's optional, like whatever one feels like and one is more attracted to, and but otherwise they could, like, the expectation or the process in the Bhagavata Vidhi of Archana process is basically one is reviving one's original Krishna consciousness. And in that, let's say if somebody is like a manjari and collecting flowers for the Lord, then in one's mind, one would start to cultivate that process of collecting the flowers, like create that process as a abhyasa, as a raganuga marg of sadhana bhakti, that one starts to create that, like, from this tree, this fruit tree, or from this start collecting these flowers, beautiful flowers, this color, or lotus flower in this season, and then that whole day is like goes in that in Ashtakaliya, like different times of the day, different pastimes. So Krishna wants longer flowers, longer garlands, smaller garlands, different body places, different garlands. So all these are, there is so much for, let's say, a devotee who's cultivating Krishna consciousness in the mood of a manjari or like that assistant devotee. Then one would, and attracted to flower, would be doing that in a whole, like, variety and complexity of the whole flower collection, and for the garlands to give it to another devotee who would then make the garland and offer it to somebody who is offering, who is putting the garlands on Krishna in different parts of the body. So that is the more or less the Bhagavata Vidhi process, and the guru will then give the would give, you are this, and you cultivate Krishna consciousness in this process. So the deity worship was being done under Narada Pancharatrika process by the Goswamis or the Brahmanas, but it was not a process for all the devotees who were coming to Krishna consciousness. Like us here, we were, let's say, if all, like, let's say in perspective, if we come to Krishna consciousness and read Bhagavatam, then according to Bhagavata Vidhi, we would be told, okay, now you are you are a gopi manjari or a cow or something, and now you cultivate your morning meditation, daytime and evening and nighttime meditation in that process of worship of the Lord. That's how you do archana process. So, now you can see how difficult it is. It's impossible. And in Kali Yuga, I mean, in India at that time, even in Bengal and Odisha, when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he saw everything is getting so degraded that everyone thought Vaishnavas are all sages, degraded people. They had wives, so many, and like that, they were all debauchees, or more or less, that was the general opinion. Of course, they were great devotees like Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj and Srila Gorky Das Babaji. I mean, they were exclusively who were practicing Bhagavata Vidhi, but many were degraded people. So because of this, we are now the guru, the acharyas have now said to us, okay, now you practice Pancharatrika system very strictly, and don't go jump over like this without the purification of the heart, cleansing of the heart, without the anartha nivritti taking place. So that is how we landed up with the way we are practicing Pancharatrika Vidhi. Now, but that does not mean that we practice Pancharatrika Vidhi system for our elevation, like it happens in Ramanuj Sampradaya and the Madhva Sampradaya. And that's where the confusion comes, because many of our devotees, especially in India, and when devotees from the West go to India, they interact with devotees who have been practicing a Pancharatrika Vidhi process, where a guru gives a mantra, where one goes to, um, there are five, like Tilak and Kanthimala and Shikha and the name, and all these are given at the process time of initiation. A name is changed, and then that is the process of worship, which is so prominent in the people's mind as a cultural thing because of the Panchatrika process in the sampradayas and everywhere. So one gets kind of like the orientation that, oh, this is when one is initiated by the under the Pancharatrika system by our Bhagavata acharyas. It is taken as if that is initiation because of Ramanuj and Madhva Sampradaya practicing like that. That is the exclusive way they practice cultivating Krishna consciousness. But here, the acharyas have included that for a particular purpose, which Srila Prabhupada says for keeping clean and sense control and other things which we can discuss more later. But so it is within even though it is parallel, but it is within the Bhagavata system. So the prominent is the Bhagavata system, which is the guru is not the one who is teaching us teaching us how to worship the deity. The guru is teaching us how to perfect the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. And and that guru is saying you do deity worship for the time being when you are particularly a householder, and everyone else, they do more Bhagavata Vidhi, less of Pancharatrika Vidhi, but still parallel, important, but quantity, like the focus is on the Bhagavata Vidhi, uh, for the purification of the heart, and then do mental, more mind, to gradually the how it is prescribed is, how it is designed is, that by doing this process, okay, varnashrama is a support, and as a grahastha then one is doing deity worship physically also under Pancharatriki. But as one gets to vanaprastha, and then gradually more, one starts more and more mental puja. And then once, hopefully by that time the asakti level is coming by all this purification, hearing, chanting, and remembering and serving the Lord, then automatically those inside from the heart, our our swarupa would start getting revealed gradually. Little inclination one would start getting. And then automatically, while doing all the other activities for preaching and for all the Bhagavata activities that we are asked to do, and the deity worship directly or by mental puja, manasa puja, one would then get that same thing, like a flower garland or this or that, how a Bhagavata Acharya earlier would give directly to the purified souls, that this is your Swarupa. So it's a roundabout way to get to the same stage, but necessary way because of the so much of contamination and impurities and degradation and attachments to lower modes which are there. So anyway, so that's the if we kind of take this archana as what is practiced in the Ramanuja and Madhva Sampradaya, then the whole focus goes on that. And that's why the July 9th letter, even among the Ritwik devotees, is considered like the final order, this and that thing. But that is not that according to all of these statements from Srimad Bhagavatam, that is not the, how to say it, that is not the defining instruction like this, because is already defined according to CC Adi 1.354, Bhagavad Gita 434, and so many other instructions, including Srila Prahlad Maharaj's and the whole Bhagavatam. So many acharyas getting initiated by their spiritual masters without this whole initiation ceremony and all these other activities which July 9 letter is recommending, because of which we understand Srila Prabhupada is automatically our spiritual master under whom we are practicing, and he's asked us to do the Pancharatrika process. And how to do that Pancharatrika process, he is saying this is how you do it. It's such a small part of the whole process, and it just like the whole thing is Bhagavata, and in that a little bit is Pancharatrika, specifically for householder devotees and other devotees to brahmacharis too, so that they get regulated and sense control, everything. But really, hearing and chanting is more focused for brahmacharis too. So anyway, it's we can discuss so much more. So much to unravel in this. So why don't we have a little discussion on this?
Yeah, one question was just like you were telling that after that he will do in the mind, he will mentally. So it is only for the deity worship, Archana, that no? It is mentioned that it will not be like one prastaya after for grastas it is deity worship. But as he will gradually, then you are telling he is doing mentally, he will. So that is only deity worship, that Archanam only, or
Everything. Krishna is saying, and see, we go always back to what Krishna is saying. Those, because Bhagavad Gita is like a, in core, everything is very nicely put together. We don't have to search many places. So we went through the 8.7, 8.8, 8.9, the process of meditation. So Manasa Puja, not just deity worship also, but his pastimes, his qualities, with the intelligence, all of that comes to the mind. No? Of course, deity worship is also part of the whole thing, but intelligence, I mean, the everything one should be mind should be filled with so many thoughts of Krishna, using the intelligence also. That's all Manasa Puja. Yes, Balram Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhu.
Guruji, thank you for all that explanation, but it really was too much, too long for me to actually really, I was trying to follow and trying to grasp, but I found it really difficult. But I don't know if you can make a summary much shorter and just clean, because it's kind of many places, many things. But maybe I just give back from that, so then you can hopefully give us a nice, short, clear summary. Is Srila Prabhupada taught us all, it doesn't matter, brahmachari or grihastha or whoever, that wake up for Mangaladi, attend the Mangaladi, the whole morning program up until breakfast, and everybody goes to the service, and then the evening program. And I've heard and read many times that Srila Prabhupada said that if you live near the temple, grihasthas if grihasthas live near the temple, they shouldn't have their own deities. They should be tied and make the effort to go to the temple and worship the deity there in the temple, not to have their separate thing at home. So this Archana, as far as Archana meaning worshipping the deity and doing the arati, as I know, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami have given us that process, and Prabhupada has, or whoever Prabhupada got it from, we have the whole morning program actually to achieve and to give us that aspect of worship, the Archana part. When we attend the morning program, we're all actually doing it. We're all getting the benefit of doing the Archana part of our process, whether brahmachari or sannyasi or grihastha, and it's important. But you started off by saying the Bhagavat Vidhi line was kind of coming more onto the meditational part where you meditate on your Swarup and you don't have your Swarup, but your guru is telling you, and then you kind of imagine or get him flowers for Krishna, well, you do a lot more of that. And then so then what do we have? Brahmacharis doing that, and then they get married, and then the grihastha goes into some other mood, and then he goes into vanaprastha, back into that mood if he ever
Bhagavata
gets.
Vidhi, there is no grihastha, there is all above grihastha, no varnashrama, anything. Just become a Goswami like a Babaji. No,
But then that makes it even more ununderstandable, because you said most of what we're following is the Bhagavad Marg, and then little bit is Archana, so it's within the Bhagavad Marg. But now you're saying Bhagavad Marg means we're Babajis,
yeah.
but we're preachers and we're going out preaching and dealing with people, so it's not a Babaji mood.
Yeah. So you see, in Bhagavata Vidhi, there is no like.
And just to finish up so you can give a good feedback, is that then I couldn't at all connect that how this, what you explained, is connected to the problem that's arisen in ISKCON now, with the ISKCON thinking this way and the Ritviks saying
Okay.
only Prabhupada.
Again, then it'll come too large. So it's very
So
good.
my small brain.
Because no, what you do, Prabhu, is really so good that you really bring out all these like really break it down so that it becomes so much more. That's how the whole discussion Ishtagoshti is told to do, so that we go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it is so enjoyable and interesting, and all these new understanding comes to me. So I'm very grateful when you go like this. So see our sadhana process, no, when we don't have we have not reached our Swarupa stage, which is from Asakti level. Till that stage, there are two processes broadly by which we can evoke that. Okay, that is the sadhana process. Sadhana means we are practitioner devotee. And then it is all so that we can revive our original Krishna consciousness, the Swarupa, which starts to come about at asakti level. We get attached to that particular form, that particular feature of the Lord, and in our, because we are that feature, we are that Swarupa, original. So to get to the asakti stage, there are broadly two processes of sadhana bhakti. One is what we are following, Another is the raganuga.
We're following, which is called what?
I think it is called the sadhana process. There is another process is raganuga marg. Raganuga marg is that there is no Brahma Murta or anything. Let's say, give an example. So at the stage of initiation, no, in the Raganuga marg, in the Bhajan Kriya stage, one is given one's Swarupa.
Just to correct it for anyone and for myself, when you say, because you're confusing us by using the word initiation. So it doesn't mean the ceremony and getting initiated. It means start point.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So at the start point of
There is
Raganuga
an initiation. There is a mantra given. That's why he's called Mantra Guru. There is a mantra given to the Raganuga Marg practitioner.
Okay. Can I just say this? We're very, very far away and nobody's there on the Raganuga Marg. Nobody's getting this Raganuga mantra. So let's just leave that, because it's not really our area, right?
No, the thing is that because overall, see, we are meant to come to that platform. See, so it's not like we get, so only in a little bit, if we can go through, we are supposed to come to a place where we don't think about Brahma Murta and Trisandhya, different times, all these things. We are meant to come to a platform of Ashtakaliya Leela, because it is all oriented to Krishna's Leela pastimes going on in Vrindavan, which
Can I stop and ask you?
Yeah.
Sorry, because I mean, for me, I need short steps and just make sure I'm clear and I'm following nicely on each step. So I've never really read this kind of point of view. What I have come across is that sentences like this. Even if you come to the Raganuga Marg, even if you come to the spontaneous platform, still, especially in our line, still you would follow all the rules and regulations. Still you would wake up early, attend Mangaladi, right? So, but right now you're making it sounds like, correct us, is that when you come to that, you don't follow these anymore.
No, let me come to the. So Ashtakalya Leela, no? Night time, Krishna is with the gopis. So basically at that level, one is kind of not sleeping. You see? So one is, because one is above the modes, Gudakesha, like Srila Prabhupada is also. So in the night time, one is performing in the mind, basically through the mind, one is going to Krishna in those pastimes, practicing right at this stage. At the stage, not we are not doing it, but Raganuga practitioners are asked to, or were asked to. And then, like let's say the Brahma Muhurta time, it's not because of our Brahma Muhurta we are getting up, like we are asked to do sadhana bhakti, but Krishna's Brahma Muhurta time, because the coward boys and everybody would go and is going and helping Mother Yashoda dress Krishna. So that Brahma Muhurta time one is going, getting up and doing that, you know. So it is attuned to Krishna's whole Leela, different times of the day. And around that, the whole of the Raganuga platform is designed, practices. So when Srila Prabhupada talks about in the here today, he said, when we just read, that deity worship can be performed in, says like this, there are two systems of Archana, the Bhagavata system and the Pancharatrika system. So this Bhagavata system, no, this, of course, this has been increased and delineated by the acharyas, Goswamis, in so many scriptures on this Ashtakaliya, this system what I was just talking about, flower gathering and all these things. There is archana going on of the deities, but in this manner, Ashtakaliya manner. The timelines are that. So now what?
So can I just stop you there?
Yeah,
It's okay. I hope you don't mind that.
of course, Prabhu.
Because you mentioned earlier that the Pancharatrika Vidhi path of the deity worship is mainly done by the Grihastas for the Grihastas. And then the Brahmacharis and the Sannyasis, they're following the Bhagavat system, simultaneously. But now it seems like you're saying.
Yeah, not like that's all. Sorry. So this is if it came out like that, then it is because it is confusing. It is not particularly like that. The Bhagavata system, when about the deity worship is being talked about, that is different from the system of purification what brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha and sannyasis are supposed to be doing. We here in this we are only talking of one archana. See, the archana earlier was being done in the Bhagavata system, like how I am explaining, and gradually we are supposed to come to that platform too, that we are able to serve the Lord within a mind, like Srila Prabhupada is saying here, Manasa Puja, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, gradually, and then gradually go into Ashtakaliya way of performing deity worship. The Archana process, the Goswami process, the Babaji process. But as far as the Pancharatrika process,
You still lost me. Sorry.
yeah.
Maybe it'd be better for me. It
Yeah.
helped me really a lot. Can you just start with, okay, we come to ISKCON 1968,
Yeah.
1970, and the temples are there, the deities are there, pujaris are worshiping. We wake up for Mangala to do all that. There's brahmacharis there, grihastas, where everybody's together. So that archana, the process of deity worship, are we doing it when we attend the morning program, or we're not doing it?
We are.
So both grihastas, brahmacharis, and the sannyasis, they are doing the same
Yeah.
archana worship, yes?
According to the Pancharatrika system.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead. So then we can say that generally, all around ISKCON and any temple that follows Prabhupada's system, everybody is doing the archana worship according to the Pancharatrika system. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So now, but what happens is, because this is not our system, because in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no recommendation of Pancharatrika worship. See? And our process is the Bhagavata system. See? So our process is not Pancharatrika process like Ramanuj and Madhvacharya system is. The paramparas are. In those paramparas, when people they are initiated, they are not initiated like this. How? Because they are not going to chandalas and malichas and people lower the modes. There, people who can worship the deities are only the brahmanas by birth. Even now it happens like that. By birth, whoever is a brahmana can worship the deity. The rest, they are recommended to worship the deity in the homes, but they are not initiated for deity worship. They are initiated in chanting mantra, different mantras, but not in the deity worship. They worship the deities without the initial. They are not installed deities. They worship pictures like that. They are not considered qualified to worship the deities directly. So because there is a lot of focus on Pancharatrika and qualifications as a Brahmana, and so many instructions are there which they are following. So for we don't follow that. The
We
Bhagavad,
do follow that.
no, Bhagavata says,
Because it looks like what you're saying, the old Bhagavad City is not our path, but Srila Prabhupada now and our acharyas have brought it in, and it is part of our path now, no?
but very correct. So they have brought, but not everything. They have brought in only which are components of Pancharatrika Vidhi which are useful
Yeah, exactly.
for
Yeah,
bringing
okay.
one to the Bhagavata path.
Okay, but
Well,
it's
our
part of
focus
our
is
process
Bhagavata.
now, right?
It is, but you see what happens. We are trying to why we are trying to distinguish also, even though it's part of the process, is because of the relative importance of each in terms of what our acharyas have told and what we are doing. So what happens is, if one, let's say one takes only the Pancharatrika system as what we are following Pancharatrika system, and the main focus is the deity worship, like how deity worship and chanting mantras and worshipping, like how it is in Ramanuj and Bhagavata and Madhvacharya Sampradaya, then the guru then becomes that person who is helping us do that, because that is how the system is there. You see, so now the confusion is that performing initiation ceremony, who is performing? He is giving mantra, he is guru. See, because of this confusion.
Well, wait. Sorry. In any sampradaya, whatever it is, the Diksha Guru, isn't the Diksha Guru defined in the same way? Like he is the one who's giving Divya Gyan within the heart that helps that devotee become purified and then realize and attracted to Krishna? Isn't that
Sure,
the definition?
of course, definitely.
So
Overall,
if that is happening through the one of the nine limbs, as we've heard, any one of the nine limbs can get you back to God. And Pradyumna Prabhu was asking this. So if that's done in a line or school or branch or group that focus strictly on deity worship, and through that deity worship and the guidance of that guru, they get Divya Gyan in their heart. Because of course, this is also an aspect that's not talked about much, and I've tried to talk about it, is that when they're worshiping the deity, Krishna is reciprocating within the heart. So knowledge is coming through that way also. So if that way they become self-realized or pure enough to go back to Godhead, then that would be their Diksha Guru, right?
exactly. So the thing is that
But so just
that can
to be
happen
clear,
Sure.
The definition of Diksha Guru is the same,
Same.
whether it's in Ramanuja line or our line?
So the result is the same. The Diksha Guru is supposed to give us Divya Gyan, purify, and take us to this highest platform, definitely. But so the problem, the difference is that our gurus, no, in our sampradaya, they understand the candidates they are getting, or the candidates they want to get from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu onwards, are all the like lowest kind of people in the world who Pancharatrika system can't be applied on them. See, so because they can't be regulated. So what happens is, so if we apply the person who is saying, okay, you here is the mantra and you worship the deity like this, like that, and they can't do it. So
now I'm really confused because you said the Pancharatrika was for grihastas, which are the less qualified people. They're attached, they got sex desire, all this. And yet they can't follow that. And yet we are giving them, and even in our group now in ISKCON, we're giving them more stuff dealing with deity worship and the Pancharatrika. These two seem like contradictory, what we just said.
So the candidates you see there, let's say hippies are there, just an example, or people in Muslim countries, or people in China, Yavanas, Khasas, everybody in the world is not qualified to practice Pancharatrika system. You see how, if it is the pure Pancharatrika system like Ramanuja and Madhva Sampradaya, those people are not qualified. They're rejected. They can't do it. Even if they are not rejected and they are told, no, you can follow, but they can't do it. Follow the processes, very, very structured and detailed processes. So for that, the Bhagavata principle, let's not go in the Raganuga Sampradaya of deity worship. We are not talking of deity worship. We are talking about the purification, starts with Shravanam and Kirtanam. That is what is applied to them. Not the Archana process of purification.
Which is called the Bhagavat Vidhi
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
So that means everybody's following actually the Bhagavad Vidhi. No?
Including the Ramanuj and Ramanuj Sampradaya and Madhva Sampradaya?
No, I'm not talking about them. Actually,
Yeah.
I think maybe we should just focus first on clarifying what we are doing and what Prabhupada's doing with this, and then branch out to
Yeah.
understand others. After that, without understanding our own things, confusing.
Yeah.
So that means mainly in ISKCON and in Prabhupada's movement and his followers, among his followers, we are actually following and applying the process of the Bhagavad Vidhi Marga.
Exactly.
It has an aspect of Archana in it.
Yeah.
And that's for all of us. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you're Brahmachari, Sannyas, or Grihastha.
Yeah.
Just to give us another way to be engaged with our hands or eyes or whatever.
And many other reasons. We should go through that later. Yeah. Yes, but please carry on. Yeah.
No, that's all. I mean, yeah,
Excellent.
it's kind of getting
Exactly.
clearer for me
Exactly.
now.
Yeah. So because of that, no, if in ISKCON now, even among Ritvik devotees, why Ritvik devotees say when they say about how the initiation should be performed, July 9th letter. Because that July 9th letter is not actually the Bhagavata Marg certification that he is Guru. He's Guru, Srila Prabhupada is Guru because he is teaching us how to chant Hare Krishna mantra purely. Because our Marg is Bhagavata Marg. So he is teaching us purely, and to teach purely how, he is given the whole Bhagavatam, whole Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, to basically the Bhagavatam, for us to take us from completely like Khasa and all the Yavana and Malicha, to lift us up into purified chanting, and the services, to do services, he has extrapolated all of that into a whole institution, the real ISKCON. Through that, he is getting people to chant purely Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Now, in that process, to do that, to so that one is not falling down all the time. One gets qualified to become better and better chanting and remove the offenses. Pancharatrika Vidhi is being implemented, incorporated within that system to chant purely Hare Krishna mantra. And to do that, they are incorporating, the acharyas incorporating the initiation for that deity worship. See? So the July 9th letter and all what Srila Prabhupada was doing was that. That is
Wait,
the
wait a minute.
perspective we need to take in
Oh,
the whole initiation process. Yeah, please.
okay. Yeah, it sounds like from what you just said that the formal initiation ceremony that we're going through is only for deity worship. Is that
Uh,
what you just said? Is that what you mean?
yes and no, but let us
Because it
let's
doesn't
take,
seem like.
yeah, sure. But let's take it for its face value for the time being. Please carry on.
No, I was just saying that for me, the official ceremony, but it's exactly, I can just give, if you don't mind giving a crude example of a man and woman about to get married. In the past, they didn't need any official ceremony.
Yeah.
I love you, you love me, I want to marry you, I'll take responsibility for you, I'll serve you all your life until we die. That's it, done. And they're together for the rest of their life, and everybody believes it, everybody has faith in it, doesn't need any official stamp. As we move forward into Kali Yuga now, husband and wife now, they become insecure. People leave each other, abandon each other, and they're scared and fear. Okay. No, you can't have a relationship with me until we get officially married and the government stamp. Then I trust the situation. And when they make that wedding ceremony, both sides hold their vows much more because they know, oh, my mom and dad were there, family were there, everybody was there, everybody saw it. So I can't run away, blah, 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 blah. So it seems like it worked exactly like that, but Prabhupada gave us an official ceremony by which even ourselves, to our own mind, we say, I took initiation from Prabhupada. He's my guru. One. Second, I promised him this. So I shouldn't break my promise. It's very bad. We all feel that if we gave a promise to someone, to break it, we feel bad. So to help us actually solidify in our vows, Prabhupada brought in this initiate, or Bhaktisiddhanta brought in this ceremony to help us just keep in Kali Yuga our vows and promises. But as you say, those vows and promises are to actually follow and stay on the Bhagavat mark.
Mm-hmm.
Without that, without the ceremony, I could easily see a lot more devotees very easily, very quickly, just stop practicing.
But if I can just interject there, all what you said is
Please.
correct. This ceremony part, no, what you just mentioned, what it does, this is the brilliance of Srila Bhaktivedanta. It makes my heart feel so like full with appreciation and affection for him, our grandfather. What he did was, he, like I asked Ramanuja Sampradaya, one devotee, I said, when you do the initiation, is the fire sacrifice performed? He says, no. Because I understood by reading Srila Prabhupada books that this was not being done. Sacrifice. The sacrifice part is the samskara part, what you are just mentioning. That is the Vedic system, Varnashrama system, not the Pancharatrika system. So what he did was the ceremony, the fire sacrifice, that is like a ceremony which was done, which he included it from the Varnashrama system.
Who included it?
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
Okay.
Srila Prabhupada followed that for the samskara part, just like marriage, exactly what you just mentioned for that reason. And he describes, Srila Prabhupada, we have read it before. We will go through that again. I want to come to the Vedic, these are called Vedic initiation, actually, Upanayanam and all that. No? These are called Vedic ceremonies, Vedic, which is Varnashrama and all that. So he included the fire sacrifice in the same ceremony where the name is changed and everything, which is done for initiation within the Pancharatrika system. So those two are put together in the initiation process together. So it's part of Pancharatrika Vidhi and not to, because of these two things. And the Pancharatrika Vidhi also is not the full thing he gave. He gave it in two parts. You see, the name was changed, everything, but again, because there is this whole with the whole thing about what's it called before the chanting. Pradyumna Prabhu, you know what is the purification happening before the chanting?
Samskara?
No, no, just slipped my mind. Um, pra, 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 prayojan.
Prayastrita.
No, no, prayachita is.
I'm just throwing words out there.
uh, pra, pra, it's like the activities performed before the initiation. I'll come to that 1 second. Which is important to.
Well, what activities are performed before initiation?
Purushcharya, sorry, Purushcharya practices. So Srila Prabhupada exactly explains like that the Purushcharya process is because Purushcharya process before the initiation, giving the mantra, Purushcharya process required so that the disciple is purified enough to be able to chant the mantra without offenses and and do the do the right thing to the mantra with the process, no offense to the guru and everything. So they are qualified to like prepped. While cooking, you prep the preparation and then start cooking. So it's like a preparatory process, Purushcharya.
So you mean for us, it would be Prabhupada saying to us, chant 16 rounds for 6 months, follow 4 eggs for 6 months.
6 months before the initiation happens.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the Purushcharya. He explains.
Okay.
So before the second initiation, before the deity worship, one is qualified to deity worship. The first initiation is kind of a Purushcharya for the second initiation.
Mhm.
You see, so in the stages one is going, it is defined, it is like structured like that for bringing people from Chandala and Malicha level to Brahmana level. So it is different from how before or in even now in other sampradayas it is done. So to take that Pancharatrika Vedic initiation guru as the guru, that is the problem. One is taking because of the cultural and everything. Okay, he is the guru who is performing the initiation. So this confusion is coming. So let's carry on. These are great, Prabhu. Thank you very much. I would have never really thought of all these things properly. And now we are recording it too, and it's so good that we are able to do that.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Yes.
Just like Balrampu also mentioned that I also want to ask, just like somebody is doing deity worship. So I have read somewhere that if somebody is like deity worship includes everything. Somebody is performing deity that worship. Somebody is singing. Somebody is clapping. So everything is that in deity worship because so it's just like in deity worship everything is including like aarti is also going on and somebody is singing, somebody is clapping. So everything is in deity worship, or only that person who is simply, unless then how it will be that 64 items that include morning and evening sadhana includes all the 64 items. So if somebody I am not doing deity worship for last 5 days, okay, but today I have not done that thing, deity worship. If the morning and evening that our program includes everything, I just attended the aarti. That means I have done deity worship or not?
So see how the Archanam, what it is exactly talking about is because we were just discussing in the Goswami temples and all, you don't see the chanting going on while the Aarti is going on. Because the chanting makes it, the whole Bhagavata Vidhi is being incorporated, or the Pancharatrika Vidhi is being incorporated within the Bhagavata. We are asked to chant and hear whole day long. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. All day long We are supposed to hear and chant the Lord's holy name and pastimes and everything. So different ways our mind and body senses are being engaged. One is deity worship by brahmanas who do deity worship, but we the hearing and chanting is going on while doing that. So we are getting that benefit also of the deity worship by other doing it, and we are watching, and that we are getting that benefit of. So everyone in the world in a sense can be lifted up like that, through the hearing, chanting and hearing. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he implemented like that while the kirtan going on, while the deity worship. So everyone else also starts to get elevated with that. So overall, I feel this is also deity worship. I don't have full understanding of it yet, how it is deity worship. I have not really researched this topic nicely. If you can research this in, how, and Srila Prabhupada would have explained it, how Srila Prabhupada does, no, he does not take like a 2 hour, 3 hour discussion like what we are doing class, and he doesn't go through one topic in detail like this, like that. What he has done is he is on one certain topic, then he goes into that that thing, and then another verse is going on like that. He is, so all of these are interspersed everywhere in his teachings. So if we are thinking of one topic on this particular question, that answer may be in different places where he has explained it. I'm sure he has explained this thing. So if you research little bit,
I think you'll find most of this information in Nectar of Devotion, where the science of bhakti is presented, and Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami present the process of deity worship, and by attending and being present, or you, as Pradyumna was asking, yes, you get the full benefit of being the pujari as such by attending the arti. That's why everybody rushes to the arti and participates. It's part of the purifying elements that happens. And you see all of us, especially for me, I came from a Muslim family, no form of God. But as soon as I saw the Vrindavan deities from day one, I was like, wow, and then just become attracted. And you can understand clearly as you travel around temples, the better the deities are served with love and devotion, and you can see that in the service, in the decoration, in the clothes, that the more you get pulled to that deity, right? So it definitely forms, at least for me, a huge part of developing a personal relationship with Krishna, this attraction and attachment to the deities.
Yeah.
Like this year we went to Tota Gopinath, and it's like, how come I never saw this deity before? When I had seen him like 3 or 4 times. I had been to Jagannath Puri, but it's like I saw him before, but I didn't see him because my consciousness was still covered and blind and not so much attraction. And this year, after seeing him, I was going every Mangalari, every day there in the morning, like for all the 7 days that we were there. And anytime somebody says Tota Govina, I'm like, oh, Tota Govina, So definitely, at least for us, you have an Indian body and you grow up with deities. But some of us who grew up we don't have a form of God, no form of God culture, and then we're coming. The deity worship is just, and seeing the deities and seeing they're so beautiful and attractive and nicely taken care of is really, really attractive.
So, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So there is, I think Prabhupada has given some references in terms where he was explaining that how the rich people they used to have deities at home, and they would engage pujaris also to do the service for the deities and all. And so in that, it was in reference to the deity worship topic. I don't remember the.
We read this today. Here it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so in this situation, in a way, Prabhupada is mentioning that making people engage in a deity service is also kind of uh, engaging yourself into so anywhere, if you're interconnected with the in the services of the deities, service.
Here, he is not saying about interconnecting.
Yeah, it is not mentioned, but I'm maybe un that worship according to suitable arrangements and directions given by regarding those unable to.
Here, actually, he does say, any household or devotee circumstantially unable
Must at least see the deity worship.
this way he may achieve success also.
So then by seeing the deity service or worshipping of the Lord, we are in a way doing Archana Vidhi, right?
Yeah, but he says any household devotee is circumstantially unable to worship the deity. It's kind of a, like a second plan B. Like if you can't really do it, then do it. It's not recommended. And then later on, he does say about Vanaprastha and Brahmachari.
So then we can also see in Prabhupada's time how many of his disciples, Grihastha disciples, had deities. Practically no one. There were a few.
Also, that question was asked by Srila Prabhupada. I remember a letter. Somebody asked him because of this whole thing, deity worship. Prabhupada says, no, that is not for like the preachers or something. If you're living near the temple, then your deity is the deity of the temple. And you shouldn't keep deities in the temple there. But he said in the same letter or another letter that if you're living far away from the temple, then you keep your deity and you do the morning programs and like that.
Yeah.
So, but in Vrindavan, you see, everybody has deities in their houses too, and then they go also to worship the deities in the temple. So, from that I understand, and from all these different instructions in Bhagavad Gita and from the Bhagavatam here, that when he's saying to his disciples, don't do deity worship in your home and worship in the temple, it is only for so that they don't get distracted because they're new. But but he's not, he can't, like he wouldn't deny the personal, somebody wants to keep a particular deity and they worship him and offer the boga and everything to one's, even if they're to one's own deity, even if they're living next to the temple, because
Why not?
just like how it's done in Vrindavan, no?
What's done in Vrindavan?
Everyone has their own deities at home too.
But that's not according to Prabhupada. You're just saying that lots of people have deities at home.
I have seen myself, no, how everybody has deities at their homes.
No, I agree with you. I'm saying that's what people are doing now, but it's not what Prabhupada said.
Even in we went to that Chaurasi Khamba, Krishna's Gokul, where the old home of the Lord is there, like Gokul, and in there they've excavated all these different houses of the Vaishnavas, and each house had deities, Vishnu deities, all were excavated there. And I mean, I'm pretty sure if I think over, I'll be able to find where they are talking about everybody had a Vishnu deity at their home. Krishna book, there are two instances I will have to find, but there are two instances where there are talking about how they were worshipping Vishnu, and
Yeah.
Shaligram, Shila, everyone keeps and everything. It's like you can't take away from each householder their own deity. It's how the whole Pancharatrika system is. Devi Varnashrama system is like that, to offer everything for one's own deity. But in the big temples, I mean, from many, many instructions which Srila Prabhupada gives to his disciples, I take it, okay, so he's doing it for this, but he's applying it, the principle in this manner and that manner. Many times for not distracting and such. So we can't just take it as all applicable to all time, place, circumstance. And maybe we need to also apply it sometimes when we see it will be distracting, and when it is not distracting, then we should apply Srila Prabhupada's given all instruction here, where he's saying all grihasthas should worship their own deities. That make the house as the owner of the house is the deity. I mean, that's kind of like the main core way by which householders get out of this consciousness of being the master.
On this point, connected to Vrindavan specifically, because I heard, I didn't read myself, did Prabhupada say that Vrindavan is not for Grihasthas? Grihasthas should not live in Vrindavan.
I mean, I don't know why he would say that. All the grihasthas are living in Vrindavan, no? All kinds of devotees. Devotees are living there.
He also mentioned that um, after marriage, a certain time when the kids are there, Mataji, and kids can go to Vrindavan, and husband can become sannyasi and preach road, right? So such
See, all so many applications, no? We have to
different.
for what they are. These are just time, place, and circumstance Sorry. These are mainly time, place, and circumstance applications. They are not, true for all time period candidates. One can't take those statements of Srila Prabhupada as what one need to follow right now blindly. One needs to see why he applied them, what was the reason, to whom was he saying, what was the circumstances, and then intelligently apply them. Because this is the thing, Grihastha devotees need to have their own deity, need to live in a holy place. I mean, Vaishnavas, Grihasthas, everybody is being asked to live in a holy place. So this is not, Srila Prabhupada himself is saying so. We have learned only from Srila Prabhupada. In his books, he's saying so.
And Nimaitu, you mentioned earlier that that Guru is trying to, just like chanting is the main process. So Guru is trying to make his disciples improve his chanting. For that, for improving chanting, for cleaning, he's giving that deity worship Archana. But Archanam is not the exact, it is just for improving that cleanliness and chanting. Something like this, I do.
Well, because Archanam can be, see, it is at our stage. No, Archanam is, when Srila Prabhupada says that, he is not, see, this is the context again when we come to, we have to club it together with what he's saying right in the beginning, that there are two processes of performing Archana. One is the Bhagavata Vidhi, Bhagavata system, and then the Pancharatrika system. See, two systems of Archana, the Bhagavat system and the Pancharatrika system. So the Pancharatrika system that we have been told to perform in within this Bhagavata system currently is for purification, sense control, everything. What they are expecting acharyas of us is by performing the system while also chanting, hearing, worshipping the Lord, worshipping and the serving the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, we get purified enough that we will be able to perform archana in the Bhagavata system. That is how in our acharyas they have been practicing that all the time. I mean, the Lord, well, let's say Srila Prabhupada, when he's practicing, he is not practicing like in a Pancharatrika system. No, same deity worship, he's paying obeisances, he's worshipping Archana, everything. He's not doing it in terms of Pancharatrika system for his cleanliness and everything. He is worshipping, the Lord is right here now, I can offer in so many ways. so many things to him. All the acharyas, all the Goswamis had their deities, but their deities were their personal Krishna right there to be engaged and served and be in these pastimes right there. So all we are asked to do is to purify ourselves to worship the Lord in come to the Bhagavata system. Manasa, more and more in the mind and more gradually understanding him standing right there for us to serve.
And one more thing too, just like Balram Dhru said, just like there is a centralized center or temple, and all the grastas are living around it. That in this regarding that, just like there is preaching movement, just like Prabhupada desire or this is a preaching movement. So why everybody keep deities? Better to have a centralized temple and
So
all
Srila
the
Prabhupada himself says, see, there are advantages and disadvantages. From hearing from Srila Prabhupada in a whole, that's how we come to know what those advantages and disadvantages are. And then we have to apply that time, place, and circumstance and candidate. So Srila Prabhupada has told us the deity is the owner of the home. He's the Yajman. He's the main, he's the house main person. Now, otherwise, householder thinks I am the main person. So how is that consciousness going to change? Like that consciousness is the core, no? Why the deity worship is given to a householder. So that one purifies, one does everything for him and changes the whole consciousness. And also all of these things which Srila Prabhupada just mentioned. So that and that's why you see in Vrindavan, all the holy places I've seen, everybody has their own deity at home, even if it is only Shaligram Shila or Govardhan Shila, and a picture of the Lord, where they offer their offerings, their bhoga, their money, different things they offer all the time, and then they have the deity next to where they are living, the big temple. This has always been there because of this consciousness to be as the focus of the Lord as the master and the owner of my house. So now what happens is in the preaching movement, why the preaching movement is there is so that because the grihasthas were also not purified. So they need to be purified instead of doing deity worship and trying to get the consciousness of the Lord is my master, is the master of this house rather than me. The faster way of purification is to the Bhagavata Vidhi because they are so low consciousness. If they can't do it, just doing the deity worship, they need to be engaged in hearing and chanting in a focused manner. Bhakti tivrena bhakti yogena, like really intensely, without vyavasayatmika buddhi, ekeha kurunandana, those like really intensely in hearing and chanting. Otherwise, the purification of the heart is not going to happen. One will become malicha, activities will come out. You see? So, no distraction. Ekeha kuru nandana. But when one starts to get a little purified from that activity, then more and more the Varnashrama, Devi Varnashrama, Pancharatrika system, all these activities one will be able to do to get more and more stabilized and more open one's consciousness and stabilize and focus on Krishna using all these methods of having the deity at one's home and everything.
in in the last class we discussed also that just like if somebody is doing Shravanam Kirtanam very nicely, reading Srila Prabhupada books, then automatically he will, because Prabhupada is mentioning that you should do deity worship also for purification. So if he is doing Shravanam Kirtanam, when we were discussing that one thing includes other things also. So if he's doing Shravanam Kirtanam nicely, so I just heard from you like, okay, Grastha should do deity worship like, for purification. I read also 2-3 weeks back. then I desired came, okay, I should also do deity worship. So just like if we do Shravanam Kirtan nicely, then that thing automatically follow also.
So one has to see the see currently the deity worship is part of the 9 facets of devotional service. See, I mean, it is recommended. We heard that even with one we can go through, but you remember I sent these statements of Srila Prabhupada in Nectar of Devotion. Think which chapter it is. Even though the one can do it with 1 or 2, still the acharyas have recommended to follow all. So we follow the acharyas. And Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada explains that, and I'll again send it, not to get diverted. So those hence we are recommended to follow deity worship, whether in Bhagavata Vidhi or in Pancharatrika Vidhi. Because it fills our heart with the Lord right there in the person right there. Why we should, like, if we are chanting and doing everything, then why would we like not worship the Lord who is right here, in front of us? So it's an automatic thing which would follow. Now, what happens is that one may not be in that level of consciousness where one is thinking the Lord is right there. Now we have to see ourselves whether if we don't do deity worship regulated way, do we fall down? If we are not regulated, if we don't have sense control, if we don't have like cleanliness, there are many other reasons then, and we'll go through that in next discussion, like go through the whole details of deity worship, what he is saying, what are the advantages from different places, not just one place here, as he's saying, Srila Prabhupada. So then we see, okay, now if it is I am not able to see, I am not inclined to deity worship like that, but am I at the level where I can only do hearing and chanting? And whether my other symptoms are telling me, no, I should be more regulated. No, I should be more clean. Oh no, I should be more in sense control and other things. That also criticism of devotees is there. Then one needs to do deity worship. So many instructions Srila Prabhupada is giving in different places. So based on that, then one can evaluate how much deity worship to do, especially if one is grihastha, if one is earning money, and that money is so much material activities are involved in it. So I'm thinking it is my money. All these things are really like primed for a grihastha devotee to do deity worship in one's home. And so according to that, then one goes. And then another thing would be if one is chanting, hearing, and mind one is able to do thinking of Krishna, and one is able to like kind of worship the Lord in one's mind too, like arti, like that one mind, then physical deity worship becomes less important to do, because one is already seeing that I am able to do that more and more. So then one can hear and chant more, because by knowing what is the preference, like, and why we have to do physical deity worship and like that. So but the problem is, in the home everybody may not be there, wife, children may not be at that level, so then it's a problem if one doesn't do it. So physical deity worship, all the archana processes which Srila Prabhupada has given, the whole morning program and everything, and then everything will get disturbed then. See? So
Then, yeah, Prabhu. Then thing comes now. So many instructions are there, Balram too. So many instructions are when to apply, when. Then we require guidance of devotees, because they do not know when to apply which principle. Because somebody picks something and something, there should be strong leaders. They should guide the things in that way.
we have to do it. If we don't know, we just follow Srila Prabhupada, what he has told, completely without question. even if it is not fully applicable to us, because we don't know what else to do. But if we, like, he is himself giving these detailed instructions for devotees when they are able to chant and hear and purify and become all these better and better, then they can little bit adjust these things. Not to jump over, but adjust, not to fanatically just do one way only.
Prabhu, we have Tirthpad Prabhu. He's in Uttar Pradesh. He's preaching there nicely, and he came today. Tirthpad Prabhu.
Oh, Tirthapad Prabhu, okay. Hare Krishna, Tirthapad Prabhu. Okay, he's feeling shy. So let's hear from other devotees. What do they feel? Christoph Prabhu and Krishna Kishore Prabhu, you are there? We didn't hear from you. Okay, Tirthapad Prabhu, please accept our humble obeisances.
Yeah, Tirthpad Prabhu, please, if you can you can just speak something or. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so Christoph Prabhu, you have anything to add? Your expert comments? Okay, anyone else has anything to add in this? We'll continue on the Archana process next week too. There is much to unravel in it. Especially we'll go through compiled from different places why he is asking us to do Archana, so that one can assess oneself whether one is now able to do it more and more according to this, so that one can then do, one is seeing that, oh, I'm able to practice it, so I can do more of Bhagavata, incorporate more Bhagavata principles in my Archana. Shuddha Sattva Prabhu, yeah?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have one query, means just out of inquisitiveness. When Prabhupada was in his childhood, he used to worship Radha Krishna deities, Radha Govinda,
Yes.
right? So I think that really facilitated him to, develop that love. Means definitely it was having from his birth, because he has mentioned that I think there was a statement, right? He said that I don't remember when I have not remembered Krishna, or when I have forgotten Krishna, like that. But that time he was not initiated also, but he was doing Radha Krishna deity worship. So are kids allowed to do this kind of activity or we need to again create some etiquettes and for them to start worshipping the deities?
What do you think?
Means actually I'm thinking this can regulate them in their life, so that, because at this early means for kids at small ages, I believe before 14 or something, it is difficult to go for chanting and all, but some physical activity involvement may definitely help them. Again, depends on uh, person to person or jiva to jiva, that how that person or kid is. That's what I think. But That is one question. And another question I had, like, do we know where are those Radha Govinda deities, Prabhupada, which Prabhupada has worshipped?
And Calcutta temple.
Oh, they have the Calcutta temple, ISKCON temple?
Yeah.
Or the same deities?
Yeah.
And Prabhupada didn't carry those deities, right? When he was
No.
a sannyasi, or so he worshipped it till his Grahastha life. Is that?
Grahastha life, we had separate deities. No? So,
Oh, Grahastha life, he had separate deities.
that I don't know much about.
Okay.
And you might just now there are so many instructions that Grasta should have deities, and some instruction that Grasta should not have, different application. So I mean to say, how will they will understand the thing, that because different people when they consult they will say different things. So how that they come to the thing that okay, this thing should be done. So that was, I mean to say, that different instructions are there.
So first is the Lord helps from the heart, no? You know, all we need to do is to confirm what we are really feeling and understanding within our heart. So it's all boils down to what we want. If we really want Krishna's service, the perfection, unmotivated devotional service, then he is right there. He reciprocates Krishna, no? We all know. So but till we are at the Asakti level platform where we can really talk to Krishna without interruption, without confusion of the mind, then we need to uh, confirm confirm all these things with externally from Srila Prabhupada's books through intelligence first. Like what we are discussing is these intelligent confirmations because of logically understanding which time, place he has told. It is complex, but if we understand more and more intellectually, we kind of become more and more attuned. Okay, maybe at this level, this is my, at stage, so I should do more, less, how much. But then that we may be not fully convinced also, or maybe we still are more humble, or being more cautious. So we ask different devotees. We Grihastha devotees are really not under anybody's direct guidance, the supervision, but we have devotees around. We can ask who know us better, and like that. So what do you think? And sometimes the devotees may not be correct too. So we have to, that's why most important for the grihasthas is they are taught in the brahmachari ashram, then they are supposed to develop this understanding from the Lord in the heart, especially in our movement. Srila Prabhupada wants us like that. And of course, but we want to take guidance from other devotees, and we should become ourselves like that we can give nice guidance to devotees around our area.
Yeah, there is same thing, sadhu shastra and everything.
Like Brahmanas are supposed to do that, no? That's why so much Brahmanas are required to give this personal guidance. But the thing is that Srila Prabhupada wants us to not depend on Brahmanas like that, not like Varnashrama system, where only the Brahmanas can read the Vedas, and then they guide. Everyone else is like, oh, okay. He is given to everyone, and everyone, even if they don't know much, a little bit of reading, that one sentence will be sufficient. One, even if they can read one, suddenly it will become clear. Yes, Prabhupada has given the confirmation. So our process is more Bhagavata system, that we serve Srila Prabhupada, and through his grace we get the blessing of the Lord. Information is revealed from our heart. You know, I mean, Yasya Deve Parabhakti. That's why there is one of the most important verses. Yasya Deva Parabhakti. Srila Prabhupada says that also many times, that this is the most important verse. Yasya Deve Parabhaktir Yatha Teve Tatha Guru. Full faith in in the spiritual master and Krishna, knowledge is revealed from our heart. All the import of the Vedas are revealed like that.
We surpass all the imports of the Vedas. Like
Because it's so confusing. It's just like we went through so confusing so much. Yeah? Apparently looks so, because in this circumstance, my God, what do I do? You know? And because what happens when we depend on all these things to others, they can't know fully, you know, how day to day and internally and with wife and children. It's so difficult to really for someone else to really tell exactly what you need to do. So difficult it is. So only the Lord can tell us from the heart, and using all these instruments to confirm so that we don't get diverted. And but the point is, even if we get diverted, it's better to try to do that using, like, develop from from the heart and through these confirmations, so that we get corrected and develop the muscle power, like the practice to be able to do that more and more. That's how we should train others to do that. Not we become like that and then train others to become dependent on us. You know?
yeah, Steve Raj Prabhu having some network problems, so he's saying respectful obeisances to everyone.
Okay, we finish here. Next week we do the different reasons why Srila Prabhupada has told Archanam to be done, and how Archanam and all these things. Okay, Hare Krishna. Pranam Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripasindhibhya Vicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna Prabhu.